we have with us Saugato Bhaumik, MMA India board member, director, CPG Automotive, D2C Global Business Group, Meta. And I keep saying this, to get the right answers, we need the right questions, which is why we are in the able hands of Saugato to do the needful. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll have you seated right here so that you and we can go ahead and welcome your speakers.
Thank you.
All right, so first up, let me please invite, and let's also keep that applause coming. Please put your hands together for Tarun Agarwal, co-founder and CEO, Communic. Thank you, Tarun. Thank you so much for joining us here. We'll march ahead and let me please invite Gautam Rishi, Regional Marketing Director, Hygiene, South Asia, Reckitt. And now we need to have a really nice, sweet round of applause, as sweet as her macarons. I'm talking about Pooja Dhingra, celebrity chef, entrepreneur, and author. Okay, looks like we're all charged up for this session, and so are our speakers. So with that, Saugato, over to you then.
Thank you so much. That was a hard act to follow, Arjun. But I'm going to just actually shamelessly leech off a prediction, or rather an observation that we strongly believe in, that transparency is the moat. I will just recount a recent comment made by one of the founders I work with closely, a lady called Romita Majumdar. She's the founder of Foxtail, the beauty skincare business. And she put it very, very bluntly, saying transparency levels are also moving because of social media. There is no way to hide. So now they're going to the level of actually live casting the products being made in their factory, the processes being followed in order to gain the trust of the millennial and Gen Z consumers who have absolutely no tolerance for anything but transparency. But why I recounted the story is because there is a cultural nuance on how this transparency was created, or this preference for being brutally transparent. It's the creator ecosystem that has exploded in the last 3 to 5 years across India. If you notice, the creator ecosystem is raw, visceral, organic, authentic. You can take any descriptor here. They have no filters, and that is the reason why Indians are going gangbusters on believing them much more than at times they believe what the brand is telling them. And I am saying this with utter humility as a person who spent a lifetime in the career of marketing, building brands, to see that creators from small town, big town, mid town, all kinds of India, tell a story and be absolutely authentic and be believed over multi-million budgets of, let's say, very large brands. So that is what we're here to talk about today. The story of the creator ecosystem, how it's moving from influence to impact. And with that, I am going to request a show of hands here in my esteemed panelists. How many of you saw a reel, watched a reel, shared a reel, clicked on a reel on your way to the MMA event?
I just did it 5 minutes back.
Yeah.
That's because you were asked to? No, okay. Any particular reel that stands out in mind? What's your favorite? Who's your favorite creator? Anybody? Just an open question. Apart from
You don't
Pooja.
want to see my algorithm right now. But I think one reel that I found really sharp and I really loved it was, there's a comic called Biswa who did a show, and he spoke about Vijay Sales, and then Vijay Sales worked with him and created a reel. And I just thought, for me last year, that was the highlight. Like, I just thought it was so brilliantly done.
So humor crossed over with authenticity. Yes. Lovely. Anything for you? You work with creators every day as your core business. Anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, so for me, Sundays are like indulgence in my breakfast. I mean, just the last Sunday, I missed the name, but there was a foodie, and there was a very interesting piece on chai and toast that I saw, and that got me going. So that was really interesting. And yeah, I mean, pretty interesting stuff across the category. That's been really what I've been following up.
Awesome, awesome. Gautam, anything that stands out in your mind in a world, and you're a marketer, so you automatically have a bias to hearing about brands, but anything?
No, so my feed is right now with toilets and floor cleaners right now. But what I remember is I discovered a gym studio very close to my place, which looked fantastic. So I shared it with my wife that we need to check it out. So that's top of my mind right now.
So discovery happened.
Discovery.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to jump right off that, Gautam. You come from one of the finest, most iconic house of building brands globally and in India. And those brands have been built on proper, well-crafted, well-thought-through 30-second TV commercials, which have now found places on multiple platforms, both linear as well as digital and connected. And that's been the primary medium of persuasion, awareness, building attributes. But in the same space, creators are now driving a lot of that discovery awareness. How are you thinking about it? And are you actually seeing that happening in the categories that Reckitt is operating in or you are operating in?
No, see, I go back to the fundamentals. I've been with Reckitt all throughout my life. So one thing they've always taught is the way to build brands fast is actually to build it slow.
Yeah.
Right? And by slow, I mean, the way I see it is by being consistent. Now, being consistent means you need to have mental availability, you need to have all of those things checked. You need to be available, awareness needs to be there. So whether you do it through a 30-seconder on TV, whether you do it on CTVs, whether you do it on social, then that just becomes a medium. Now what's happening is, of course, people, if they watch less of TV, and if they watch a lot more of content, then the funnel then shifts there, right? Now, can a creator do top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel? That of course depends, but initially, in the TV era, one comm or one ad would do everything, by the way. Right?
Yeah.
You would make it work really, really hard.
Yeah.
Right? You would test it like 10 times, 20
Yeah.
times, you would test it until you get that. Now, your creators can also do that. A great creative can be awareness. A great creative done by a creator can just be about authenticity, that it works, or it could just be that this is the last mile. So it really depends what you're doing, what they're trying to do. For a big brand where the awareness is there, for example, Harpic, awareness is there. Lysol, Dettol,
Yeah, yeah.
awareness is there. But maybe मैंने ad देखी थी, I don't really trust it. And when a creator actually tests it and there's a wow demo which comes in front of your eyes it works, it just switches that, because now I believe, and my word of mouth, which used to happen through my friends, now it's happening through the creator. So the role then changes a bit.
And do you see this role being confined to very short-term brand ROI, either in mind measures or sales, or do you think there is a possibility this is also adding to long-term memory structures?
No, it will. See, again, if you keep doing it consistently, then the job to be done there is, I'm building a brand.
Yeah.
Right? If it's short-term performance, just buy now, then you're also looking at short-term. So it can do both.
It can do both.
You need to be very clear on your objective. The creators then need to deliver on that, and you'll need to figure out how do they deliver and what kind of creative delivers what. But definitely it can do all of those, and the long-term and the short-term both.
Amazing. I'm going to just quickly switch over to Pooja. Pooja, you have been an entrepreneur and a creator extraordinaire. I mean, I am a personal fan of the macaroons, though I shouldn't be consuming too much of them. You are a powerhouse of how brands can collaborate effectively with creators. You've done it yourself. What is the secret sauce? Because there does not seem to be a fixed recipe. Many brands are hopping onto this. Many are succeeding, many are not. What's in your perspective that sauce or a framework that brands should follow to really partner effectively with creators such as yourself or any genre?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Just to give context, my brand Love 15 is now 16 years old. So when I started this ecosystem looked very different. And I think for me, as a young entrepreneur with just a phone in my hand, I think I just started telling stories. And I think that's what's, I didn't even realize that the word creator didn't really exist. And it's beautiful to see how this has evolved in the last decade or so. Working with a lot of brands, the things that I have realized is that the 3 C's that we talk about. One is just communication. So to kind of first understand what the goal of the brand is. Because sometimes a brand will just come to you for awareness. Sometimes the brand will come to you to drive a certain drop, like this is releasing, I want to promote this. So I think it's very important to sit with the brand and understand what the main goal is. Once we've done that, I think it's important to collaborate. So I love when brands come to me and they give me a brief and they let me roll with it. They say, okay, we know you, we understand that you built a great community. How would you like to reach out to them in your voice, your tone? Because sometimes I'll read something they've sent and I'm very honest with that as well. I said, if I don't believe this, it's very unlikely that the people that follow me for my voice are going to believe this. So I think it's a collaborative effort. So that's the one thing that I would also tell brands here to.
And has that happened a lot?
It used to
You don't
happen.
have to take any names.
Yeah, I won't take names. Yes, it happens a lot because sometimes you'll read, and now obviously ChatGPT scripts, you'll read them and you'll just be like, this is not me, And so then it's teaching and understanding and being like, look, I know what you're trying to achieve, which is why it's important to understand the goal. So once you've understood it, you're like, look, I know what you want to get to. This is the way I think we can work around and we'll achieve that. And then it's amazing. So I think that it's really important to understand your creator and their ecosystem as well. And then I also think conversion, right? Like what are the metrics that you're judging the content that you're putting out? Is it just your regular ROIs or are you building brand trust? Are you building loyalty? Is it just awareness? So I think those things are quite important.
Wonderful. Finally, Tarun, I'm going to just add on to that question. You are somebody who's built one of India's foremost creator collaboration, communities that partner with a multiplicity of brands. You're at the heart of this meeting ground between brands and creators. If I pose the same question to you, what is the secret sauce that you are seeing from your vantage point that's playing out for the successful collaborations versus the ones which are not so successful?
First of all, I think to us, having been a part of this creator ecosystem over the last 5-6 years, biggest thing that we have observed is the process of co-creation. And the brands which really, like Pooja just mentioned, how do you maintain the authenticity of the voice? And, the creator voice must remain intact. So while there is objective on one side, we are, mediating partners. Our job is to ensure that while we are gunning for those objectives, how are we ensuring that the creator voice or the style or the vibe is absolutely the way the audiences are going to be relating to it. So it kind of becomes a process of co-creation where the brand and creator comes together and therefore works towards it. And another aspect is that it is a very important role that we and our teams play on having a right creator fitment. Co-creation is important, but co-creation can only happen that unless and until you have the, right creator fitment, and that's where we do a lot of work. And today, there are platforms like, yours Marketplace is there. You have almost 1 million creators there. There's a whole lot of rigor and work that goes behind. If that's the objective, it's not just about the followers. It is also about finding that right fit, okay? These are the kind of folks, that's the kind of vibe, that's what's going to work. So that's what we kind of work on. And I, really feel that co-creation is what really makes it work.
Tarun, I'm going to follow up with 2 questions. The first one will put you on the spot. Since you're at the heart of this, making this collaboration happen, let's assume there is a brand which is very rigidly wanting to, have the creator deliver a certain story. But that story is not the right vibe of that creator or the creator's followers. And it's not, you can see it's not going to work out. The co-creation will will seem forced and inauthentic. As a marketplace owner or creator, will you pull the plug or will you let it happen?
No, actually, what you just asked me is something that we have faced several times. But when we talk about the beauty of this marketing is it's very fast evolving. Marketers are learning fast, and actually, it's the market dynamics that teaches you. Now, marketers are very obsessed with their brand objectives, and so should they be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Ultimately, they are looking at numbers, they have to justify the spends. But the way to do that is while initially, when we looked at the earlier phase, people will look at the number of followers, and all discussions will start with views kitne milenge, engagement rate kya hoga, and that's how you start justifying your spends. But now there are qualitative factors like, is there a narrative fit that's going to happen? Because at the end of the day, if consumers are not going to relate with the content, there is no trust, and that's not going to work. So that's what we've seen, that now brands, marketers are more open to listening to that, because there have been instances that they have gone ahead and then content hasn't worked. So now it's, I think, more open to discussions, and that's what we're seeing, which is very good for our industry.
That actually brings me to the second question. You referred to something like followers, likes, kitne milenge. I hear that all the time. How many likes will you get? How many comments will you get? How many shares will you get? What is the engagement rate? Tell me what, in your opinion, and be very, brutal about this. What are the right metrics to really measure the success of creator-brand collaborations? In an AI world, a creator could have 20,000 followers but reach 1 million people, because the AI is going to make you, if your content cuts through, the AI will ensure you reach 2, 3, 5 million people. The follower count has become fairly irrelevant. So what are the metrics you propagate when you bring the brand and the creator together?
I think it's a great question, because ultimately at the end of the day, we are working as a partner to the brand, and we are also working as a partner to a creator. We are responsible for their social reputation, right? Now, when we kind of start this, the discussions really start at the time when you kind of are building that matrix, okay? Who are going to be the mix? What is the kind of numbers that we're really putting? It starts with, those usual things, engagement rate and views and all of that. But what we've seen is that, it is KPIs which are built across the funnel. So, Gautam spoke about the funnel, based marketing. And so what we are kind of seeing is that at the top of the funnel, there is reach, there is sentiment. In the middle of the funnel, we're looking at things like clicks, and you're looking at saves. And finally, of course, there is the return and the conversion. But what we are seeing larger emphasis of late on is the kind of comments, kind of saves, kind of shares.
Just sentiment.
Yeah. Now, what is that doing is that brands which are kind of building, they realize that the creator-led marketing is something that is for a long term. And they're building with these as one of the key metrics. It's not just hard data, not just quantitatives. They're going into the sentiment part of it, because that's something that leads to the longer term equity. And then, like I said just a little while back, the qualitative aspect of how good the narrative fit was, that's something also that you have to really gauge. So all of this really comes into the play, and that's the kind of conversations we are having with the brands, and that's how we're really evaluating the thing.
No, thank you. Moving on to Gautam. Gautam, just a few years ago, creators and creator-led marketing was a special line in your marketing plan. It would be like this: okay, let's make the main creative comms, and then this is the additional touch on top. But now, with the explosive growth of creators and the growth of AI-led content where creative diversity is the sauce, you can't have one ad going to all intended audiences. You need a host of motivations and creatives to touch across the length and breadth of your intended audience. Is it forcing brands to move into this co-creation model or create new infrastructure to build creative at scale, to build diversity at scale through creators, or are you seeing that it's still not happening? And what's your view on this sitting where you sit?
No, 100%. And especially for national brands. Right? I mean, we operate everywhere. So the way we look at it is, and I've termed this AI in a different way. I actually call it audience intelligence for us. It's almost market research to that level.
Yeah.
Right? Because one creative 10 years back versus now 100 creatives, or if not 100 creatives, there could be 10 concepts which are being actually tested with different creators talking about it in their own language, in their own sense. So I don't need to now build one narrative for all India. Right? South is different. South already is not just one region. There are 4 different states in it, very, very different culturally. I don't need to have one copy that goes there. I don't need to have one insight. The same product that all could mean a lot of things for a lot of people there. It could be floor cleaning for somebody. It could be gentle care as a mother to the son somewhere else. So I don't need one creative now. Of course, your overall awareness can be done by TV and through mass comms. But I think creators are getting this now. And then the best part of that is that with the audience intelligence part that I say, I now can get into the fact that this is real-time testing. This is testing at scale. I don't need to just test it with 200 people. Right?
Which creative actually worked? Which idea
creative,
worked?
what was, and which, but why? I think the why is very important. You can't just stop it at, okay, this is working, okay, fantastic. But why is it working? Because the minute you get into those insights, that's when you unearth a lot more stuff. You can actually get into innovation. You can actually get into, okay, do I then now take this idea to TV? In fact, it's the other way around versus what you were saying, that you make a TV com, you make your main campaign and then bring it to social. It's actually the other way around. You make it on social and you then get it on TV. So
it's a very interesting thing you're referring to here. So Gautam, tell me, as a business which is such a finely honed creative workflow of development, are you facing a lot of friction trying to master this sudden world where you went from 6 months of brief writing, creative testing, PPM, blah, 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 to, oh my God, I do now need to compete with brands which are delivering 30, 40 creatives inside the AI, and 4 of them are winning.
Yeah.
And they're winning at the cost of large, iconic brands. I work with brands whose average number of creatives in every campaign exceeds between 150 to 200. It goes that far. Not all of them, but it goes that far. How are you coping, if at all, with that kind of a requirement of a different workflow and different infrastructure? How are you thinking?
no, so fundamentally, that's a very different muscle that we have to develop now, and we are developing as we go. That world of 6 months cycle, brief, PPM, shoot, that is all crunched for sure, right? But fundamentally, it again starts from what are you trying to achieve? Be very, very clear. If you're not clear, then all of this remains an experimentation. You will call it experimentation, but you don't even know what you want out of it. So be very clear what you want out of it. Then of course, with those workflows, you put it out there, you learn very, very quickly, because then it's research. Then I call it research, not experiment. Research with it, understand what's working and why it's working. And then you, of course, go with it. But yeah, those timelines are completely gone for social, especially, and creatives coming on social. It's a very different muscle. So I'm learning as I go. I don't have that muscle growing up, so I need to develop that. The team is new. The team is from a very different background.
You're hiring differently.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a very different muscle that we need to develop, which we didn't have it earlier. Especially, if you're in a legacy brand and we're talking about all of that, that's very true. You need to now relearn, learn very fast on the go. But both can exist together. Right now, both exist together, and we'll see where they merge.
No, amazing. I'm going to jump onto a very provocative topic with Pooja. We hear a lot about AI-generated content. It's the buzzword. Some people tend to call it AI slop. But let's go back to what it intends to be. It is to enable people to create really fast at the speed of culture. And naturally, some of it will be great, some of it won't be. But for creators such as yourself who have a very fine craft that you've brought and you create based on that craft, and we call people like you craft creators because you're bringing that fine expertise to the audiences and that's your story. How do you evolve to stay on top of this massive influx of AI generated content that's taking over so much of the mind space and attention?
I actually also want to make vegetables talking to each other. That's what I've been seeing. No, I think, I look at AI more as a tool that can help and make my life easier, better, faster. So is it, when I need to brainstorm scripts, when I need to talk about ideas, and that's what I really use it for. I still, shoot, produce all of that myself, but I think I just use it as a tool more than anything else. And for content creation and also for work, I'm quite addicted to it. I love it.
So you're like actually seeing this as an opportunity and not
Yes.
as a challenge that.
Yeah, a full opportunity. I think it's just made life so much easier because it just helps you get data faster. It helps you make sense of what's happening much faster. And you can actually see real-time action if I want to test something out. How does this caption work versus this? I'll get real-time results. So I quite enjoy it.
Amazing. I'm going to move to a question to both Pooja and Tarun. And in fact, Arjun before us spoke about this phenomenon of creator brands. And he put out a prediction. Many of them won't survive. It's quite a provocative point of view. I happen to work closely with one of them, which is Hyphen. But I've also seen met the recent founder of Underneath, Vimarsh, who works very closely with Kusha. You just seen the explosive growth of Super U. So Pooja and Tarun, you are seeing creator-led, creator-founded brands scaling. Yeah, you yourself are a creator-founded brand. I mean, almost.
Yeah,
right?
I think the brand came first and the creator came through it for me.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like a Hyphen is something where Kriti is at the heart and center of actually
Yeah.
devising the product, the formulations,
Yeah.
the way it is marketed, and it's grown to more than 200 crores in exactly a year and a half,
Yeah.
and similar stories for the other brands. So to question to both of you, again, do you see a secret sauce here, and what are the advantages and risks?
So yeah, I'll quickly, from my perspective, I think since you spoke about Underneath, I follow Kusha. I know her quite well. I follow her work, and it was so interesting to see before the brand actually launched the kind of marketing that she was doing, because she was actually providing you with a solution and you didn't even know what the product was. So I think that when the product dropped, it just made so much sense. I think that was done very smartly. I think from my own perspective, I find that, when you have a creator-led brand, just your acquisition costs, it's just so much easier. You were talking about Hyphen. I think if Kriti does a get ready with me, that would, normally cost so many millions of dollars for media spends, and she just got it for free. So I think that creator-led brands, I think that's the value there. But I'll let Tarun tell.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree with what Pooja says. One of the important things that we've observed is that, there are so many creator-led brands, but the ones who are really scaling up and have been successful are the ones who've really, built the products on insights. They're really not selling them as branded products, but more as lifestyle solutions. And that is what is connecting with audiences. That is what is, as a story, they are able to build it. And what we've also seen is that, like you spoke about, Kriti, they'll build a master narrative. There's a master content, master story that they'll build. And then there is going to be a kind of a spider web of, micro and nano creators who will take that story, which is relatable to different cohorts of audiences, larger narrative staying the same, and really take it to, the scale. So that's one very important aspect. But yeah, I mean, that's overall the thing that we've seen, and it's working pretty well for some of those, and really following up quite closely.
So what are the risks?
Yeah, so See, it has to be, so risk is in terms of the volume. Sometimes what you've seen is that, some of these brands, when they start, and then they follow it up for the conversion bit with large numbers of micros and nanos, you have to be careful about the volume. There is a fear of overkill. You keep on seeing the same brand, different creators, all across the feed. It kind of becomes overwhelming. So you have to be careful about that part. Second, that's something that we've seen largely of late in the financial sector and the healthcare sector, which is about the claims. Sometimes, brands, when they collaborate with these micros and nanos, the kind of claim the creator makes, it should be something that shouldn't damage the reputation of a brand. So that's something that's there. And I think also another thing that we are observing right now, and I think we have a session just afterwards, which is led by ASCII. Now with the ASCII guidelines and compliances, I think this ecosystem needs to be far more prepared to really take it forward. So these are some of the things that we are, kind of focusing on.
Okay, I can see we're almost running out of time, so I'm going to wrap with the final question. This is to Gautam and to Tarun. We are now seeing what's your take on what is the mix of creators? How do you select between what is traditionally called macro, micro, nano, so on and so forth, classifications of the size, scale, reputation of different creators? Because what we are seeing at our end as Meta is a lot more prevalence of brands working with a lot of smaller, mid-sized creators, always on, and boosting the reach and the targeting with partnership ads that actually act like a targeted media vehicle to the audience of the brand. We're seeing that happening. At your end, do you think that's the right way to drive effectiveness, or it's all go heavy, go big with the large creators, go big bang, make a big splash? Because those are two schools of thought.
So the way I look at it is, what's the objective? Go back to the objective.
Sure.
Is the brand already aware? Is the awareness is very high already? Then the objective is, I need to make the consideration very high. Where are you in the funnel? If that's the part, then you'll go maybe micro, you'll maybe go nano, because people need to see people like them and be very, very authentic. So then the objective becomes that, then so you need to do that.
Right.
If it's completely new, you're not on any other channel, you're not on any other medium.
Like a
then,
launch.
Like a launch, then you maybe need a mega there, because then you need some big name, big part there to build that credibility initially, and to give some power that, look, this is a big launch, here's something which has come. So it's a mix of both, also where you are in the journey of the brand. So that's how I always see it.
What are you seeing, Tarun?
Yeah, so there is no one size fits all. But I would say largely brands which are now realizing and they're committed to creator-led marketing and these initiatives. I would say a consistent solution lies in a kind of a tiered approach, wherein you possibly look at a mega for a validation. You look at a macro and mid-tier for driving consideration. There is high production value, good product information, all of that bit works well there. And when you're really looking at the numbers and the thing, then go with micro and nanos. They are the social neighbors. And one of the things that we've seen is that while there is a kind of a bigger focus on culture-led marketing. We've always spoken about product-led marketing. I'm not nowhere kind of, reducing the importance of the product. But in a country like India with such diversity, you have a bigger impetus on culture-led marketing. And that's where these micros and nanos become very, very, very important. So while this is one part, the tiered mix, another aspect becomes the tool. So that's overall the thing, yeah.
As
Sorry
you
for
can
taking
see,
time.
there's a hard bell here, but thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for all your deep insights. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Let's hope this journey keeps continuing and we drive more effectiveness with creators. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.